I committed crime, Lord, and evil. Crime of being hungry and poor. Left a grocery store man a-bleeding when he caught me robbing his store. Hold it steady right there while I hit it. Oh, yeah. There, I reckon that ought to get it. I've been working.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Duncan Showroom and the Eugene Smith and Billy Show. Number 55, double
55.
nickels. I know, that's got to be lucky.
Yep.
We should be buying a lottery ticket.
Hey, it's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're looking good, my friend. How you feeling?
Feeling good. Yeah, I feel fine today. I'm ready to rock and roll.
Nice. Well, we had a lovely dinner the other night with some of our guests who have been here 3 times with Diana Braithwaite and Chris Whiteley.
Yeah, that was
great.
Nice.
It's been so good to have them around for such a extended period.
They're going back in May, the second week of May, I think it is.
Got to start up their schedule of dates in Ontario.
In Ontario, yeah.
Yeah. That's great. And they said they'd been here how many years doing that? I thought it was just like 2 or 3, but it was quite
I think he said 12 years.
That's outrageous.
I know.
And they haven't been having dinner with us those other 10 years. Maybe they just discovered us.
Yeah, really.
There you go. Huh.
But they love it here, so that's good. And
yeah. No, wonderful.
And yourself, how are you doing? You
I'm
working
wonderful. We just finished our pantomime at the Duncan Showroom.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And it was great. I mean, this is a good stage for theater. It's not too high. We had the kids sitting right up front on sheepskin, and you know the house is about 50, which is plenty good.
Yeah.
For pantomime, and that stage worked really well. John had hung a curtain just behind you, so we had room to go around, do our chase scenes around the curtain. And it was great. It was wonderful.
I know the night I came, it was the opening night, I think it was.
Yes.
That was so much fun. I couldn't stop laughing. And
yeah.
It was really good.
comic
Especially with
relief.
the kids interacting with the with the people on stage.
It's very, that's the idea of the medium, is that you're supposed to be ready to improvise with the audience. Mm-hmm. But the trick is, of course, not to lose the story, because you could start talking with someone and completely forget where you are.
Yeah.
So it's
that did happen a couple of times.
I'm sure it did.
I think somebody said you're all standing there, and somebody says, "I think we're supposed to say something now."
It's a very elastic medium. So you
yeah,
get away with that.
It was fun.
So we haven't got. I don't think my feed's on. Well, I'm live, but no chat feed. Oh well, I'll fix that in a minute.
No chatting yet anyway.
Oh, there you go. They're all quiet today.
They're quiet today.
Listeners.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. What are you going to start us off with, young fella? An apple pie?
Let's not even get into that.
Let's not get into the apple pie controversy. Oh, we were supposed to do, I can't do any jokes of color or tease you about your sunglasses.
Well, you want me to come over there and slap you?
Ooh! John put this down here so we could use it. But that's as far as we'll go, because we don't want to give any credit to, bad acting actors. Yeah. My theory was that Hollywood's going down and they need all the drama they can get.
Well, they had less people watching it the last couple of years, so they had to do something to. Well, actually, the next morning on the news they were, the Academy's made history last night.
Oh. Balderdash.
They made history. I couldn't believe it. So I thought I'd try a song. I've been just kind of working on it just a little bit. The Sam Cooke tune here for you. Don't know much about history. Don't know much biology. Don't know much about science books. Don't know much about the French Don't know much about algebra. Don't know what a slide rule is for. But I do know one won't make two. Yeah. And if this one could be with you, what a wonderful world this would be. Now I don't claim want to be an A student, but I'm trying to be. For maybe by being an A student, baby, I can win your love for me. Oh, now don't know much about history. Don't know much biology. Oh, no. Don't know much about science books. Oh, now. Don't know much about the French I took. Oh, now. But I do know that I love you. And I know that if you love me too, what a wonderful world this would be. What a wonderful world this would be. What a wonderful world this would be. Sam Cooke, he was always one of my favorites.
Yeah, good writer, good performer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Did you see the fellow that did the show locally? Now I've lost his name. That's terrible. Tim, you know the fellow I mean that did the Sam Cooke tribute at...
Out at Shemaine?
No, he did. Well, he might have done Shemaine. He did Couching Community Center as well.
I forget his name right now.
Some of the young... Well, we're doing great. We're scoring high. Luckily, we know the name of our guest,
Yeah.
which is good.
Yes, this is good.
That would
I
look
was
bad.
just, before we bring
Yes.
our guest
A
up,
guest.
I was just going to say, in the last couple of weeks, I've been listening to Jimi Hendrix every morning.
Interesting.
I
That's
wake
your morning
up-
music?
Yeah, I wake
Wow.
up and I put on Jimi Hendrix, 20's greatest hits of Jimi
Whoa.
Hendrix.
That would get your blood going.
I know.
I thought, if you could simultaneously do some yoga or stretching and have Jimi Hendrix on,
Yeah.
on the turntable, that'd be good.
It's really interesting.
Well, I'll try that out.
Okay, so here we go.
Here we go. Well, our guest is rather a surprise guest, which we don't
Yes.
have to go into too much, but we had something in the moon. It's usually Mercury retrograde or the phase of the moon.
It has something to do with astrology.
I probably. But the last time we saw this esteemed gentleman was in Courtney, maybe 2 years ago, or maybe it was 3. It's got to be 3. Before
Was it-
COVID.
Yeah, it was before COVID.
And
Years ago, yeah.
Senior Valdy and yourself, Eugene Smith, and Northeastern were the entertainment for a fundraiser
Yep.
for Special Woodstock. And I was just driving you up because I like your company. I don't know why. And they happened to not have an MC, so I was shoehorned in as MC, and we all
Yeah.
had a great time.
Yes.
And somebody came up with the idea because you and Northeastern both have dreadlocked hair.
That's right.
Somebody went and got a false dreadlock wig for Valdy, which he graciously wore on the stage.
I
And
have a picture of that.
do you? Oh,
Yeah.
good. Good. And I took home that wig, and I wear it with honor on many occasions as a prop, and think of him, of course, when I do. But the other notable thing there was Valdy was running a bit late for sound check, and of course, why was that? It was because he had stopped to help someone on the road who was having car trouble.
Yes.
That's the kind of human he is. And here he comes. He's heading around the horn. It's the clubhouse turn. Monsieur Valdy, welcome, sir.
Good to see you. All right.
That was a long, rambling introduction, but you deserve it. There you go. There you go. And so we haven't seen you for at least 2 or 3 years, but I'm sure you stayed active during COVID somehow.
I have put a show online every Sunday.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, I do a half hour called Live at 5, and I do it Sunday at 5 o'clock Pacific time, and I've been doing it on Facebook. And as they have been shuffling their platform and evolving their software,
yeah.
it's been quite a learning curve.
Yeah.
Because I plug in the computer at the beginning of it, and I unplug it at the end, do all the tech and stuff.
Yeah.
And if I have a good connection, it's a great thing to do. And when I have a connection like I have at home, it's, hi, this is...
Oh no.
And I have it's just...
Really? Is that because you're resisting the towers on Salt Spring wisely? Or?
Nope. No, we
No?
can get 150 upload speed right up on the road.
Wow.
But we have a long driveway, and we have a deal with one of the providers and not the other.
Oh, I see.
So I'm not going to get into any
Don't
corporate
get into any
bashing
political
here.
corporate
How long have
bashing.
you
Just in
lived
case
over
you've
there?
got an orange juice company or something. Like
I got an orange juice company, all right. How long have you lived over on Salt Spring?
I moved there by boat in 1976, and I've been there ever since.
Okay.
Wow.
I lived there for in the 60s. I stayed over there for a bit when I was in Victoria, late 60s. And I first came to Salt Spring in 1960
Oh, wow.
when I was 15, and we came across the country as a family. I was younger than you then.
Yeah, and you are still.
I still am.
You were legendary. I have a friend who I reminded you of, Laurel Collins, who lived there in the late 70s, and she was like a struggling young mom, and you came over one day and gave her some, just a good chat and a foot rub. And man, she remembers that foot rub for the rest of her life. What a gentleman, she said.
Collins.
Collins, yeah. Her husband was Rod Garbett. Or no, sorry, she was married to Jake. Some guy named Jake had a son with Jake. Somebody. That's a way back, sorry, but
And he gave a foot rub.
it was a foot rub. And a
Oh,
good
nice.
chat.
And
Yeah.
a good
Now, if that was a Scandinavian family, that Jake's son would be Jackson, son of Jack.
Okay. Yeah.
So I should have been Valdy Paulson because my father was Paul Horsdal.
Okay, yeah.
So, but we broke tradition when they left Denmark.
Right.
And he was Paul Valdemar Horsdal, and I am Paul Valdemar Horsdal.
Oh, great.
Wow.
Same name.
And Valdy fits on a marquee way better than that. So.
It does.
Where'd the name come from?
Danish,
Yeah.
my Horsdal is a made-up name. There was some bastard blood in the family a few generations ago.
That's good of you to mention.
4 of the kids, 5 of the 8 kids wanted to change their name because they didn't want to be related to the Jensens. Well, hello. There's 100,000 Jensens living in the west side of Copenhagen. It's its most common. It's like Smith or Jones.
Yeah.
Jensen, son of John. So they changed their name to, they wanted Horst Care, but they couldn't have it because it was already taken. So they were given Horst Dahl. And that was 1922, something like that it happened. So it was basically the bureaucracy made up our family name.
Yeah.
You have been appointed Horsdals. Yes, sir.
But sorry, you were born there as well? Or
No,
you
I
were
was born in Ottawa at the Civic
Ah.
Hospital
nice.
out on Carling Avenue.
Yes.
8:15 in the morning. I was big.
Yep.
And I've apparently I was sucking my thumb
Already?
right away. And people were saying, "What's that noise up and down the hall?" And it was me
Oh, there you
tuning
go.
up my pipes
Oration
at
already.
age 2 days.
Yeah, there you
One
go.
day.
Just warming it up. Warming up the machine.
Apparently, I was born with hair in my face.
Oh.
Whoa.
I know. Hasn't stopped. So what have you got for us?
Well, I have a song that I've been writing for years with Dr. Bob Rizika. He's a kid's dentist in Victoria, but a very keen songwriter. And he's retired now, and his wife and he travel the world. She had an art store, and she's come down with dementia. And so he wrote a poem about it and asked me if I would put the music to it. And may I do that for you?
Sure.
It's called Shadowland. And it's a slow thing. I consider it a love song because it's a positive situation. It's regardless of what happens with someone's brains, the love is going to be there forever. So reaching for the daylight. Like a deep sea diver coming up for air, chasing every shadow, hoping there's a chance to find you there. I never felt so helpless. At times it feels like I can hardly breathe. Running down a road to nowhere, running out of reasons to believe. So hold me close and tell me what's going through your mind. I need to know what matters most, and we're running out of time. Put my arms around you, so near and yet so far. I promised to be there for you, but I don't know where you are. And your life is strange and different from the one you used to know. And your mind keeps playing tricks on you, and you can't find your way home. As I watch our life unravel, this single thought has crossed my mind. Would I rather be the one set free, or the one that's left behind? So hold me close and tell me what's going through your mind. I need to know what matters most, and we're running out of time. I put my arms around you, so near and yet so far. I promised to be there for you, but I don't know where you are. Those that suffer pain and loss all come to know that grief is really love that's left with no place to go. And there's no plan in place for what lies ahead. Nobody has a clue when the one and only love you've lost is standing right in front of you. Reach out and take my hand, dear, before you slip away. Our love's not going anywhere. Our love is here to stay. Whoa, whoa, 3, 4.
Oh, you think you spent a few hours doing that, eh? Well, that is a beautiful sentiment. I bet that brought tears to his eyes.
Brings tears to my eyes sometimes when I still play. It did the first 10 times I played it.
Yeah.
And I did it on a tour I did stateside just before the pandemic in 2020. February of 2020, I did about, I think, 25 or 26 shows in Florida and Arizona and Texas and California doing the Snowbirds. The Canadian Snowbirds Association.
Oh, interesting.
Played for about 20,000 people in the month of February.
Wow.
And came home, and after work, and whap, it just cut right off.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. But I played that song for the Snowbirds, and that was the first time I got to. And every show, someone came up and said, yeah, we're going through that right now. You know, so it was a real thing to sing.
Yeah, it's a common thing and very devastating in some ways, but there's beauty in it, isn't there? Certain memories. Now, here's a good memory I have of you, and I like to remind you that one year you were at the folk festival. You had 3 sets in one day, 3 different pair of socks, and I got to introduce you twice. And one of the lovely things that I found was that, of course, in your sets you do a lot of cover songs that you enjoy, and by the time you got to the main stage in the evening, did a lot of your own songs, and it was just nice to remember how many of your songs are that we know quite well and are great tunes. You know, it was just a lovely day, as well as your dress sense. So, you know, the socks make the man.
3 pair of socks in one day.
You had 3 pair of socks, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, to go the different sets. But the question I wanted to ask, here again, going back into a memory question, and I don't know if I've asked you this before, but the first time I ever saw you was in the hills of the Ottawa Valley, and it was a long-running folk fest. It wasn't Wilno, but it was somewhere weird, late 70s. Killaloo. Blue Skies. Ah, see.
It wasn't Blue. Well, I played Blue Skies, but not until The mid-'90s.
Okay, this was just like a field and hills, and it was
Yeah, I
pretty
was
rough.
in Killaloe.
Killaloe,
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, and it was the Killaloe Arts and Crafts Fair.
Right.
And it ran for about probably 10, 15 years or so
Yeah.
up there.
Yeah.
That was where the freaks from Toronto went to settle
They
back
sure
to the
did.
Landers, you know? Just like here, they all came to Duncan.
Yeah, really. Eh?
Yeah,
And
pretty
here we
much.
are.
Pretty much. Yeah, I know it was felt like land out of time. You know, you just walked into that venue. It's like, holy moly.
Yep.
Yeah, people hiding in the hills. And we were going to ask you about another great moment in your life. You said back in 2011, was it, that you received the Order of Canada? Can you tell us a little bit about that experience?
Yes, I got a call from them and said, if we offered you the Order of Canada, would you accept it?
That's a funny
I mean,
question.
I guess they may have some people that say, no, I'm an anti-vaxxer. I couldn't possibly do that, you know. But I said, yes, of course I could. And said, good, well, then we'll let you know.
Oh.
And then they phoned up and said, you've got it. Would you come to Ottawa? I said, I can't. I'm booked up on a tour for this whole
Right.
time. And so I said, what about next year? Can I come next year? And they said, oh, it's good. We've got a backlog. So they were. So we went in 2012.
Right.
And something that's happened here was quite reminiscent of that too. When we get awards, and it's about probably 50 to 70 people get them every time. Mm-hmm. And the Order of Canada, the member of, and there's one other one too, a chieftain or anyway. But there's 3 levels of it. And we were invited up to stand in front of all the congregated people. And the Governor General and his wife were sitting there, and the MC was yakking on a microphone over there. And so everyone, I watched them go up. They all went up, and they turned around, and they turned their back on the Governor General and his wife.
What?
That's like turning your back on the Queen.
You shouldn't do that, should you?
Yeah, it was scary. And I went up, and I did that with you. Instead of walking over here and giving you my butt, you know, I turned and I watched you all the way, and I did the same thing there. I walked up and I turned to them and turned my back to the
I
MC.
think you showed good stagecraft.
Well, it was the most memorable part of that for me, you know? And I also wore a pair of red sneakers
Of course you did.
in honor of a teacher on Salt Spring Island who a music teacher had just passed away,
Oh,
and he
nice.
used to wear those red Converses all the time.
Nice.
So. And also people expected it of me.
They
Yeah,
do.
Well,
They
wherever
do.
you go, they expect the red shoes.
And my wife got me these.
Those
These
are
are
soft.
They're like hush puppies, and they're lined. They're marvelous. And I have on 2 pair of socks today too.
2, were you
It's-
feeling a little damp and chilly?
No, it's still winter here.
That's right.
Long johns and 2 pair of socks up until the end of April usually.
Me
you know.
too, yeah. Me too. Working outside.
We're just wussies, Bill and I.
The circumlocation.
Glad you didn't add me.
But yeah, it was a lovely thing. Thank you for asking me about it.
Yes, yes, indeed.
It's
Indeed.
great stuff. Eh?
Let's see who's chiming in here. Lonesome Don Wilkie, Eugene and Billy, your show rocks. And Victoria, in regard to Valdy and Gene, wonderful to see such icons of music together on the stage.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've conned a lot of people. You too?
Yeah.
Charm goes a long way. Do you make pies as well?
No, but I'm good with the microwave.
Yeah, there you go. Well, what do you estimate? How old were you when you started performing?
Well, I got a guitar at age 13. Excuse me. At age 13, and I've had a few guitars since then, but it was piano that really taught me music.
Oh.
I learned where everything is in relation to the rest of it. It was all there in front of me.
Yeah.
And then when I applied it to the guitar, I had a concept of linear scales and etc. And I went to bass when I got to Victoria so I could survive. So I played bass in for years in clubs in Victoria.
Yeah.
And then I made a record, Play Me a Rock and Roll Song in 1970, and that put me back on guitar.
Wow.
So.
Then you just didn't look back. You went solo.
Solo,
Original
sometimes I go out with other players, not
Yeah.
often, because now, not particularly now. But and I also play bass in a group called Duck Creek, and we made an album right here with Tim's help.
Really?
Tim, yeah, the
Duck
sound man up.
Creek.
Yep.
And you've done some good shows with Gary Felgard as well, haven't you?
Yes, we toured together for 19 years, 18 or 19 years.
Wow.
From 2000 up until, no, 17, up until 2018. Doing the Okanagan. We did the Okanagan every year, and we did Ontario and Alberta and all points in between.
This Snowbird concept sounds awesome, though, that somebody has organized that, knowing that Canucks traveling away would like to hear some music they knew.
And they
Great
come,
concept.
yep, it's a lovely tour.
Yeah.
And it only lasts for a month for me, but it
Right.
would be a lovely place to go down and play and go across. But I kind of like it here in the winter, you know.
You do?
Here?
You don't mind?
I don't
the-
mind it here. Yeah, I'm a skier, and we have dogs. I don't want to put them in. You know, it costs more to put 3 dogs in a kennel than it does to get a hotel room in New York City.
I bet it does.
Yeah.
It does.
So no, I like it here in winter. I don't mind going away and being on the road. I've missed that for 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you travel much on the road, or did you stay mostly local?
Well, since I moved here, I was doing I would work around here a lot, and then I would go back east and travel all over Ontario and work in Ontario quite a bit.
Yep.
You know, but it's just being on the road is after a while. It's just you just do it, right? You don't think about it all that much. It just happens.
The DNA gets you going. You're out of the
Yeah.
room at 11.
Yeah, yeah. And then, working with Ronnie Hawkins in the 60s and touring with him and going all over Canada, wherever, and down into Arkansas and, the places like that. You just get so used to it, living in band houses. And
Back in those days, was Ronnie Lane playing with Ronnie Hawkins?
Robbie Lane?
Robbie Lane, or was it Robbie Robertson? Who was
No,
with him?
well, first it was Robbie Robinson in the band, when they later came the band. Then after they left the Hawks, then Robbie Lane and the Disciples joined Ronnie.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the sequence of it. Good.
Yeah. And then after he left, Robbie Lane got a show called It's Happening on CTV or whatever it was back then. Him and Carol Goss.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when I joined Ronnie because he was forming a new band.
Oh, good.
So I was with him for 5 years there.
What year did you start?
I can't remember
Oops,
that much.
sorry.
I just know that I was 21 when I started because you had to be 21.
Yeah.
And then I turned 21 on a Sunday and we started playing at the Lecoq Door on a Monday. No, I know. I was of legal age.
That was 1964, 65
Yeah,
for you.
You could do the math.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Those were
Yeah.
the days, touring.
Yeah, oh.
And you got to see other musicians on Sundays.
Oh, and Saturday afternoons.
Saturday afternoon. Yeah,
Yeah,
for the jam.
matinees.
Yeah,
Ronnie started the matinees in Ontario, and then it just took off right across the country.
Oh, yeah.
Every Saturday afternoon from 3 to 6.
Yeah.
And then you'd start. You had a little while to have something to eat, and then you had to be back on stage at 8 o'clock until 1.
Long day.
I know.
Long day.
And that was 6 days a week.
Yep.
It wasn't just
That's
on
right.
the weekend or something.
That's why Sunday was so cool, because you meet all your friends at gas stations and restaurants as everyone's going from gig to gig.
Yes, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But back then too was the music on Yonge Street and everywhere. Up and down the street, you could hear all kinds of great music. You could go into the Colonial, and for $4 and a bottle of beer, you could watch Miles Davis. You know what I mean? People, it was just B.B. King or whoever. It's one time, and a lot of these acts would come to the Lecoq Door and get up on stage with Ronnie, like B.B. King came up and got up on stage, and different like one time, what was the producer's name? Henry Mancini was working at the O'Keefe Center with Andy Williams and Frankie Avalon. So after their show at the O'Keefe Center, they came to the Lecoq Door, and Frankie Avalon got up on stage and played the trumpet.
Whoa.
He was a pretty good actor, and
Frankie
entertainer.
Avalon.
Yeah.
He's a good singer.
Yeah. So what have you got for us now?
Henry Mancini, I cut my teeth on him.
Did you?
Oh, yeah. Moon River, wider than a mile. Yeah, he was a wonderful composer and arranger.
Yeah. What was the da-dum, da-dum, That,
Pink
the
Panther.
Pink Panther. Yeah.
Right, right.
Ba-dum, 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 ba-ba-da-ba-dum.
That brings back memories.
Yeah.
Are you doing a funky tune on your bass? You were singing a great one earlier.
I would like
Sticking
to
with the
do.
guitar.
I would like to do one more guitar song here,
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of a rocker,
Nice.
dedicated to my friend the logger Dave Gunn, who took his kids in for a lunch after playing hockey on the farm. They were all hungry. They went in. There was a gambling machine right beside their table, a VLT, video lottery terminal, and it was making that happy little major chord they do. You know, it's got a, ding 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 ding. So,
Yeah.
Dave reached behind it and he pulled the plug out of the wall. It got nice and quiet, eh? And the cops come running in just a few minutes later.
Oh, yeah.
So I figured, aha, it's set off. This deserves a folk song.
Yeah.
You know, this kind of immediate thing that's going on. So I wrote a song called "Dave Pulled the Plug on the VLT."
Nice.
Get to the point. They've been out playing hockey, they were a hungry bunch. So Dave took the kids in for a bite of lunch. This VLT was there clanging and chirping. No one was playing it, it was really disturbing. So Dave pulled the plug on the VLT. Dave pulled the plug on the VLT. Somewhere in New Brunswick, an alarm went off. The guard sat up so fast he spilled his coffee, and bells were ringing, lights were blinking red. This has never happened before, he said. Dave pulled the plug on the VLT. Dave pulled the plug on the VLT. That's a video lottery terminal. Dave pulled the plug on the VLT. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. When the plug came out and the jangling abated, the waitress looked sharply up from her plate. Pulling the plug is strictly forbidden. Dave pulled that sucker right off of the grid. Dave pulled the plug on the VLT. Dave pulled the plug on the VLT. That's a video lottery terminal. Dave pulled the plug on the VLT. He just did it in an East Coast minute. Whoa, he just did it. Dave pulled the plug on the VLT. You ask me, Dave's a hero for seeing an annoyance stops. It was a good solution for noise pollution, but try to tell that to the cops who came racing in expecting a riot. And here was his family eating real quiet. We can pull the plug too, we ought to try it. They tell us we're locked in, but I don't buy it, 'cause Dave pulled the plug on the VLT. Dave pulled the plug on the VLT. That's a video lottery terminal. Dave pulled the plug on the VLT.
Oi, yeah. Now that's rock and roll.
It is rock and roll, yeah. It's
I
all
love
folk
it when
music.
you rock out. Yeah. Folk and rockin'.
Lovely, good playing, man.
Good story too.
Thank you.
Good
Yeah.
playing.
My fingers are all numb now.
Yeah. I played with a percussionist who he used to tape his fingers
Yes, some do.
and played the congas.
Yes, because
He had a conga and there's another name for a conga and a
Djembe.
no, it's
No,
another
not the
big
djembe.
conga, but it's different. The different sizes have different names apparently. But he had, maybe he had just personified them. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
But
but they would the skin would come off their fingers and everything else, or they hit the metal.
Yep.
On like this doesn't have metal, but those kungas would have metal on them and
I
everything.
think so. And he got a different sound because of it too.
Yeah.
I think he liked that.
Yeah.
Well, I hasten to say we're into double time for you, my friend. So before Eugene plays his goodnight song, just maybe a quick your thoughts on opening up. Do you thirsting for the road? Are you gonna try and book yourself?
I'm booking myself now.
Yeah.
My agency, I had a booking agency I've worked with for the last 12, 14 years, more than that actually, yeah. And they just all went to ground.
Yeah.
And only one of them showed up again, so I phoned
Right.
him up and said,
Right.
So he's putting stuff in Ontario for me.
Good.
And I've been hustling and kicking the tires around here. Barry Edwards from Campbell River has helped me get a few gigs on the island.
Nice.
Merville and Arrington and Herman's Jazz Club down in Victoria.
Beautiful. Yeah.
But yeah, a friend of mine in Calgary, Susie Casey, she runs the Calgary Folk Club. They're coming up on their 50th anniversary, and I was just talking to her, and she said, "Here we go. It's just opening up, and this is the Great Gigsaw Puzzle."
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Isn't that sweet?
Yeah. Perfect phrase.
The Gigsaw Puzzle, which is what it is. I mean, that's we're just dragging stuff out, looking for anchor dates, and you build a little cluster of stuff around them.
Right. Yeah. Good old work. Are you gonna play the funky bass with the?
I wouldn't mind if that's
so long
okay with
song?
you.
Oh, that's good.
Eugene?
That's
Oh,
good.
yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
I'd like to thank the Duncan Showroom for having a fine bass amp here for me.
Indeed.
They've got everything here.
I had one in my car or my van, but I couldn't make it because the ferry was overloaded. We've got this dinky little boat that they put on it between Vesuvius and Crofton, and it's overload.
Every time.
Because that run is always busy on both sides.
It's
right?
very
Yeah,
busy, and with
yeah.
this small boat, it's just
Silly. Yeah.
Well, it's not workable, so I left my van there and
Oh.
came over. I'm taking the bus back to the ferry.
Oh dear. We can give you a ride, maybe.
Well, we'll work on it.
Well, it's been a treat having you here,
A
Valdy.
real treat. Yeah.
Thank you for
treat,
asking me,
yeah.
and thank you for your persistence in getting through to me too.
Right.
Because
I know.
took
Well,
a few-
I'd sort of given up on you in a way because I phoned you, and then 2 weeks later, I didn't hear from you, and then all of a sudden one day I go on my phone, there's your voice on there saying, "Yeah, I'd love to do it." I said, "Oh, this guy's on island time."
absolutely.
I know. I didn't know what island time was until I moved here.
Yeah.
And then, I'd phone somebody up for a gig on a Monday, and they get back to me on Friday and say, "Is that gig still happening?" "Yeah, I'll do it," I went, "Oh, this is island time."
It's been a treat. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, it's good to see you.
So I'm trying to think of who's next week, Billy.
Well,
Come
I
on.
don't know.
I know. I
I've
think
just,
we have.
I just got my lipstick and my false eyelashes off.
we
I'm
have
just, like,
Whitey
getting
Summers,
around
I
to-
believe.
Whitey?
Whitey Summers.
Oh, that's exciting. Good
Yes.
memory.
Whitey Summers is here.
I
next
promise to
week.
write down the rest of the shows till our break in April. So I'll come more prepared.
Okay.
I'm really missing Ed McMahon there. What happened to my dummy, Tim?
In the key of C. Say goodnight, everybody. Hope you had a good time. Well, good night, everybody. Hope you had a good time. Well, we know back next week. Well, we'll be sublime. Say good night, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the show. Well, good night, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the show. Well, come on back next week. Well, we'll play you some more. Come on, Billy, tell them now.
I said good night, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the show. I said good night, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this show. Got two of my favorite Canadian icons on stage at once. I couldn't ask for any more.
Your turn, Valdy.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
There's got to be another line. I say good night, everybody. The line has got a rhyme. Thanks to Eugene and Bill and Tim and y'all had a good time.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Well, good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Well, I say good night, everybody.
Good
play you some more.
Yeah! And that's the way we do it around here.
We did.
Monsieur Valdy, always a treat
night,
to see
everybody.
you, my sir.
Thank you,
my friend.
Bill.
Yeah,
See
thank you
y'all
so
next
much.
week.
Longevity John, Dr. Ted, Eugene.
Wherever the cameras
our
are.
guests. Good night, good night.
Breaking up big rocks on the chain gang. Breaking rocks and serving. Oh yeah, I'm serving mine. All right. That was for the ladies. There you go.